Hey everybody, this is TotalGamerJunkie and I want to welcome you all back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about this mysterious character who we saw in issue 5, and I want to be talking about who he might be, what powers he have and what powers he may have, and what role he'll be playing in the future issues of Arc 2, known as Life is Strange Waves. Now, I think he's gonna play a big role in these in the three remaining issues of Waves, because as you can see right here, we have his picture not only on the front cover of issue 7, but also on issue 8, and so he has to play a big part. And I want to be going over who this person is actually, because I actually received a comment when I uploaded the video. There was this comment from a person named what do you call it? Sorry, just trying to find Haizu Seto. I believe that's the name of the person, Haizu Seto. Hizu Seto. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right, or if I'm offending you. Okay, so Haizu or Hizu Seto actually commented on the theory video, and I saw this after I after I was uploading issue 5, and he put about this person. His name is Tristan, and apparently he can disappear and reappear in the oddest of places. He's either a echo from a different timeline, or he's someone else new. I don't really understand his place in the series, but whoever he is, he's probably going to help Max along with her powers. Back to Max, who has just entered a new timeline that she is struggling to understand, but all she knows is that everything is going great in that timeline she's living in. Tristan himself also has his own secrets to be uncovered, but we won't find out until we read Life is Strange 2 Volume 2 Waves. So, Tristan, like, how do you even know his name is Tristan? I remember seeing another comment actually. Someone asked, Rachel the animator asked, how do you know his name? And Haizu or Hizu's, but I have my sources. Yeah, but if you have like any theories and that, if you know anything about the series, let me know so I can get the word out, people, and I can let other people know. And if his name is really Tristan, you're getting a shout out in the next issue, Haizu. You're getting a shout out. So basically, I'm going to be showing you all the images that we see him in issue 5, and I want to go over each and every one. But before I do, real quick, I had a question asked by Hizu, sorry, if he wanted to know about, you know, that song Chloe's singing when she's on the roof. What do you call it? It's the song, the High C songs from issue 1. It's with that band that Max and Chloe were hanging with in the first issue. And he also put Max was going to wipe the oil off Chloe's face, but stopped herself. Instead, she told Chloe she had oil on her face, and Chloe said it was deja vu. This is what I interpret from it, okay? Hizu, this is what I believe. Now, I believe that, you know, when Max in the game, when she traveled back into the past, like into another timeline, she always brings her memories with her. I think because of her feelings for Chloe, somehow she's kind of slowly bringing those memories of Chloe, and somehow her powers are maybe implanting them, very little ones, into Chloe's mind, which is because, like, whenever Max like, you know, when Max goes back and saves William, stops him from getting hit by the car, then she jumps back into her body. But for the 5 years, this is a new Max Caulfield who's more confident, and she's living her life, and so she has her own set of memories, her own life, and then Max just overtakes that. Then Max's personality just overwrites the new Max of this new timeline, and so she's able to take her place. So I believe that maybe that would be very interesting. The Chloe from issue 1, from the Dust arc, maybe the memories will go transferring over, like this flood in, and then she will be able to be with Max again. At least that's what I think. It's probably not true. Maybe something like that won't happen, but there have been various instances in shows where people who end up in a different timeline, who lead a completely different life, they can get their memories back. Like one of them was a Disney show. I think it was American Dragon. There was this girl, and she's part of this Foot Clan, and Jake wishes that she never became one, and so she lived an entirely new life. And then when she sees this photograph, she remembers everything. So it could be like that, maybe not. Um, so we'll have to find out more about this in the upcoming issues. Now let's get on to the topic about well, we already know who he is. He's Tristan, but let's take a look at all the shots and determine what we can gather from them from every scene he's in. So in this first shot, we see that he's right there. Tristan's there on the sand, and he's looking out at that cafe shop that Max has been going to. Basically, I believe it's every day or something since she's gotten there. I'm not too sure. I'll have to reread the comic again, but basically that's what I believe. She's been going there every day since that guy working there has been like, oh yeah, I have your order here. It's like, he even says it to Chloe, yep, I already know what you want, I'm gonna get it. And also like for Max, I believe, because I believe they're regular customers. Now, I want to bring this up real quick. As you can see, the year is set in 2016, and a commenter, Christopher Wickline, put, since this is now set in 2016, these comics could have the potential to set up a shared universe since we are closer to the Life is Strange 2 timeline. Not to mention the Amber Pricefield fan service was done better than expected in this issue. Now, this could be possible because maybe on their way to maybe when Sean and Daniel are on their way to Puerto Lobos, maybe they end up meeting, like, I wouldn't say that they meet Max, but maybe like they bump into her a little, just like at one point, and it'd be like just like a casual thing. Maybe it's like, oh, sorry, like if it was an accident and they bumped into each other, it's like, oh, sorry, didn't watch where I was going. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, see ya. Like a brief cameo like that. Like imagine, like think of Hugh Jackman, in X-Men First Class and X-Men, what do you call it? The one after that, what was it? X-Men Apocalypse. He made brief little cameos in that, so we could have a cameo of Max. Or maybe this could be based off one of the endings. Actually, maybe this could be where if Daniel and Sean ever meet up with their mum again, they end up moving to California or something like that, and they bump into Max there as well. We don't know what's gonna happen, but it's possible they could meet because this is like a timeline. It's not technically canon though. It's not canon to the game's endings though. It's just set in a timeline. So yeah, let's move on to the next image. Okay, so this image here is actually what I find quite interesting, and I'll put this up and I'll add more to this in the next image. Now you can see that Tristan is standing outside the coffee place, right? Well, I mean, of course you can. It's like it's a rhetorical question, Well, it should have been, but this is what I picked up, and if you take a look at the next image, I believe that he is waiting for her to enter. Okay, because look at the next image right now. Okay, we see him. Max has gone and entered. She sat down, and then he goes in to sit down. That's how I see it, at least. That's what I believe has happened. He knows who she is, or maybe he has a crush on her or something, and he's kind of like, if any of you have played like episode 2 of Life is Strange 1, when you wake up as Max in a bedroom, if you look out the window, you can see Warren just kind of like stalking you. It's pretty funny. Alright, so in this next image right here, we can see Max is drinking her coffee, and Tristan over there, I believe, he is still watching her. He's not looking at the coins on the table, which could be 86 cents, because I'm just guessing, because, when you prove in the Chloe you have your powers, you guess 86 cents in her pocket. So maybe that might be a small reference there. 86 cents. Now, like, he is, like, I wouldn't say he's stalking her, like, well, I guess you could say he's stalking her, but the question, if he is stalking her, why is he stalking her, and how long has he been stalking her? Did he figure, like, did he know she was there when the new timeline, when she came into this new timeline? Possibly, possibly not, I don't know, but let's move on. In these next two images, what you're seeing here is Tristan is not looking at Chloe as some of you would believe. No, he's not. He's actually looking over at the tip jar on the counter. As you can see in this image that has just popped up, he is ignoring Chloe and Max. He's just looking at the tip jar, and as you all know, he steals it. But why does he steal the tip jar? Let's go into a theory right there. So I guess one way you can look at it is, as Paul, I believe that's his name, sorry if I'm getting it wrong, he's wiping the counter and he knocks the coins off the counter. And then he picks them up and he's just looking at them, and I guess he decides to keep them. So that's when Tristan takes the jar of money. Now here's what's interesting, okay? It's the way he's looking at the money. What do you call it? If Tristan can, like, make himself appear to people and not appear to people, then how, like, what do you call it? Then is it just him? Maybe it's objects that he has in his possession. So, like, I guess you could think of it, like, one way you can think of it is with invisibility. And basically, he's like an invisible inanimate object, and like when Paul was wiping the counter clean, because I don't believe Paul could see Tristan, okay? And then he's wiping the counter clean, and then he ends up knocking over Tristan's coins. And he's like, look, and if you look at how he's looking at the coins now, to me, that reads an expression as, where did all these coins come from? What's happened? It's like, so I do believe that right now, this whole scene, only Max can see Tristan. No one else can. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. Okay, so in these next three images, you're going to see here, he's looking at the tip jar. Okay, he's picked up the tip jar, and then he goes. And Paul, I still think his name is Paul. I'll correct it if I'm wrong. He's like, hey, where did my tip jar go? And for me, it's kind of weird how he's turned around. It's like, where did that tip jar go? It's like, wouldn't you hear the tip jar being lifted up if it's got that much change in it? Because it's almost, if not halfway full. So, when you're lifting it up and you're walking around, wouldn't you hear it go clanking with all the other change in there? To me, that's just more proof that he can not only make himself disappear and reappear, but things he's holding onto in his possession can disappear and reappear with him as well. Alright, now let's move on to this next image. So before I get into this, I know that last image I showed you didn't have him in it, but I felt it had some relevance with the previous two images. Now we can see Tristan here looking out just to the beach, just thinking to himself. And I gotta say, I really do like the Kate Marsh reference. She's just my favorite character. She's my favorite character in the Life is Strange one, because she's so sweet and innocent. Now, you see Max is looking at him, and he's just, I think he has no idea that she's even there. He's just staring out. I think he's still waiting for her. And it's at this instance where Paul's like, hey Max, perfect timing, and he turns around and he's like, oh, she's here. I don't think, at this point, I don't think he knows that she can see him. Because if he did, he would have said something, wouldn't he? And so as they're talking, he's just looking back. It's like he's trying to tell Max something. It's like he wants to say something to her, but he can't find the words to say it. Like I think he really likes her and wants to talk to her, but he can't for some reason. And maybe it's because of what's happening here, because as you all know, Max experiences a lot of pain when she uses her powers, just like Tristan here is. I guess some people could say, oh, he longs to be with Max, that's the pain, it's longing pain. It could be, like, I mean, if you're a romantic like that, but ultimately, I think that he, like Max, gets hurt when he overuses his powers. and that's actually we got a little. That's actually proven in the last page of issue 5. So here we see Max, and she wants to get some answers. She's like, why couldn't Paul see him? And so at this point, we know he's got powers, but the question is what they are. We still don't know, but we're gonna take a guess after I go over the last page, which this isn't it. So Max is ready. She's there, and she's going up. She's ready to talk to him. Okay, so she goes up. She goes to talk to him. And right as she does, we notice that Tristan, he looks up and he sees her. And then there's this surfer guy, he's walking, and when he passes Max, we see that Tristan has disappeared. Now right here we can see Max, she's like thinking to herself, oh god, is this another flicker? Like, is my body going to go through what happened in 2014? Am I going to have to choose a new reality? Is a new disaster going to strike this city? Like, I can't let it happen again. Basically, after all the shit she went through in 2014, she's not about to go through that again. So, but like, that's understandable, because after everything that's happened, would you want to have to pick up after after you went to a new timeline? Would you want to have to pick up again and just do everything else? It'd be exhausting, and you'd have to, like, fit into a new reality with new memories and all that. Well, not new memories, but, you know, you'd have to kind of separate your old memories, like, because, like, when Max is mentioning Victoria Chase, I assume she kind of felt sad for Victoria or something, because that's another interesting thing, actually. So this Max never went to Blackwell. Like, if you go back and when she's in the cafe with Chloe, and you hear that, and you read that conversation, it's like you never even knew Victoria Chase, and how could Max not know her if Max went to Blackwell? Because Victoria was like, you know, the Queen Bee. She was like the royal bitch. That's what the B stand for, the Queen Bitch. And I do believe that this Max never went to Blackwell. That's the only explanation I can come up with. But why didn't she go to Blackwell? We'll have to cover that in another video. Okay, so like, if you can see Tristan right here, he's hiding behind a building, and like his eyes are kind of looking like to the left, and he's kind of seeing Max, and his nose is also bleeding. Now, this is actually, this is interesting. I want to bring this up. If you compare Life is Strange, if you compare the characters Max, Tristan, and Daniel, there's one thing that separates Max and Tristan from Daniel, and that's their noses bleed. I've not seen Daniel's nose bleed once in the entire game. Because for some reason, I think powers in this game, like, depending on what you get, determines, like, how you use them. Like, for example, Max's powers, like, rewind, like, the memories, like, which he goes to other timelines, that's all in her mind. And that might be him. His powers might be Tristan's powers might be an extension of his mind. But with Daniel, he just lifts up his hand, and he uses, it's like telekinesis, so it's like part of his body. It's not affecting his brain or anything, which is quite interesting. So, I guess some people, when they have powers, some people have a negative effect to them, while some people don't. And speaking of powers, we can rule out super speed because he's not fast. And I do have a theory I want to talk about. I do believe this is what powers he might have. Now, if any of you watch Ben 10, Alien Force, Ultimate Alien, and Omniverse, like, which is like, I loved it. Omniverse was alright. I liked Alien Force, Ultimate Alien as well. But the new one, it's just yuck. So anyways, there's this character called Professor Paradox, okay? We first learned about him in Alien Force. Now, what happens to him is, he ends up, he's trying to build this experiment with his partner, and he ends up getting sucked through this machine. Sorry about that. And he's like trapped in this infinite time loop where he can't starve, he can't dehydrate, he can't die, he's just like there. And what's happening is, he's stuck in there for, I believe, it's a millennia. and it mentions like he's trying to find a way out, and then he's going insane, and then he begins to learn, and you see when we first meet him, whenever he's walking, he like walks behind a lamppost at one point and he disappears. It's because he knows all these shortcuts in time, and he's just walking between these areas, and they give him shortcuts, kind of like Goku's instant transmission in the Dragon Ball series, or Dragon Ball Z, and GT and Super. You know what I mean? Instant transmission. That ability, basically. So that would be very interesting if he had a power like Professor Paradox. I would love to see him have this power. That would be pretty cool. So, anyways, that's really all the theories I've got about this. But I'll have to make another theory video about why Max didn't go to Blackwell in this timeline. Anyways, that's about it. I hope you all enjoyed this theory video, and I'll see you in the next one. This is TotalGamerJunkie, signing off.